And then later, the Ashanti Regional Security Council is expressing worry about increase in prostitution in the city as a naked man dies after allegedly being thrown out of the window from a brothel, and he was found whilst on the street dead with a condom on.
2030, I want to say
for a round of sex, I charge between 20 and 30 cedis. Some people pay as high as 50 cedis for similar services.
Why don't you join me with your views and comments? Send me a WhatsApp 0244 340437. My name is Evans Mensah. Tonight, a special audit by the Auditor General's Department has revealed that 21 ministries, departments and agencies could not account for the whereabouts of 7,823 employees on their payroll as of June 2018. The government lost, listen to this, 467 million cedis. These are monies that we pay to people who simply do not exist, but we pay their monies from the taxpayers' funds as a result of the unaccounted for employees. The AG conducted a nationwide payroll and personnel verification exercise from June 2018 to January 2020 to provide an independent assurance on the overall payroll management system of government. I want to bring in the Deputy Auditor General, George Winful, who joins us on the telephone line right now. Thank you, sir, for your time here on Newsnight. Kindly explain to us which category of staff fall within the over 7,000, let's call them ghost names. Hello, Mr. Winful. Well, we don't seem to have him on the telephone line there, but we'll get him for you as we begin to break this down for you. A total of some 467 million cedis that the Auditor General is saying we may have lost as a result of this. We're going to break it down for you. We'll also hear from the anti-corruption crusaders who are pointing to a need for some serious reforms when it comes to the way the public sector is managed. Now, we'll come to that story later, but I want to quickly move on to the Ashanti region because the Ashanti Regional Security Council is considering various scenarios aimed at stopping further spread of the coronavirus in the mining town of Obuasi. Now, described as the epicenter for the spread of the virus in the Ashanti region, Obuasi's cases now constitute more than 75% of the total case count of the entire region. The two assemblies, Obuasi Municipality and the Obuasi East, have recorded 456 cases. Now, journalists is learning inhabitants of Obuasi are facing stigmatization from other towns. Health experts deployed to assess the situation last week have put before the council various proposals for consideration. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abuaji, spoke to Joy News after assessing the situation.
We are here to work with a team in the district to look at, first assess the situation and then help them draft an appropriate response, which they are already doing. So we met opinion leaders, we met the MCE, and we met the health team, and we have finished our plan and see how we can quickly control the situation in Obuasi.
So that's Patrick Abuaji there, talking to us about the challenge with Obuasi. Municipal Chief Executive for Obuasi Municipality, Elijah Danse Bona, says the Assembly will abide by any form of restriction that will enhance contact tracing.
We're talking about the security agencies, the police, immigration, prisons, and other clinicians, talking about the doctors and the public health nurses who have been helping us in the fight against COVID-19, as well as the leadership of Obuasi East and Obuasi Municipal. We met yesterday and took decisions on some of the issues that came up from reopening of the market, enforcement, isolation centers, and what have you. So when we met yesterday, the clinicians also said something that any form of restriction that can also enhance contact tracing would be appreciated. And I'm not an expert in terms of health issues. They have advised we would also escalate the advice to our bosses. So whatever decision that will be taken from the center, we have to respect that. But if you ask me, yes, either partial lockdown or curfew, but that can be announced by the president. So we're waiting for what the center will tell us. But we are doing our best before the center takes any decision and then impose it on us. I believe they know better, and whatever they do, whatever decision they take, and then implement it, I know it will serve our people better.
Well, the Regional Security Council has been deliberating on this. Elton, what more do we know?
So, Evans, what we just picked is that the meeting is still ongoing. Among the proposals before them is to advise the president to lock down Obuasi for now, to ensure that contact tracing can be enhanced, and then to treat people who are already infected by the disease. So that was the proposal put before the RegSec by the team that went to assess the situation. Now, the meeting is still ongoing. We are yet to be told the exact advice that the RegSec also passed it on to the people, because it's the president's prerogative to undertake this particular.
I remember when the president lifted the 3-week lockdown on Greater Accra and Ashanti. One of the things he said was that they're going to be a rapid deployment force on standby.
Sure.
Each time they realize that the community seem to be developing more cases, they move in quickly to assess the situation, and he will not hesitate to impose a targeted lockdown on such communities. Clearly, from all the figures we are learning, Obuasi seems to be one of those areas.
Almost 500, representing 80% of all cases recorded in the Ashanti region.
Yeah.
Now, the challenge the Obuasi Township is actually facing as of now, which the Municipal Security Council is so worried about, is the stigma that the inhabitants are facing. Now, among some of the key issues that they are confronted with is the fact that the inhabitants of Obuasi are unable to access some of these towns because of the fact that they've recorded so much cases of COVID-19, and commercial vehicles are sometimes reluctant to pick them to other towns because the towns are not ready to accept people who are coming from Obuasi. And that is a major concern facing the Assembly and what they are doing to address this particular issue. So they have the view that if the RegSec is able to advise the presidency on the way forward, it will help address this particular matter once and for all. Are
you in and around the Obuasi Township? I want to hear from you tonight. Why don't you send me a WhatsApp 0244-340-437? What is the situation on the ground if you are affected or within Obuasi Township specifically? What can you tell us about what you see and how people are observing the social distancing guidelines that we have been given, including the wearing of face masks? 0244-340-437. I want to quickly return to our top story this hour, the special audit by the Auditor General revealing the government paid over 467 million cedis to over 8,000 ghost workers at various MDAs. I can bring in now the Deputy Auditor General, George Winful, who joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Winful, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great, thank you for joining me. Explain to us which category of staff fall within this over 7,000 ghost names.
Thank you very much, Evans, and good evening to your listening. As you will recall, we started this exercise in 2018, that's in July, and we expected all government employees on government payroll to show up for the enumeration. We succeeded in counting a large number of them, and at the end of the exercise, we had 7,823 supposed employees unaccounted for.
When you say unaccounted for, explain. What does that mean exactly?
If we say unaccounted for, what we are trying to say is that the employees on the payroll should have been accounted for by the employees, which is to say that when they fail to show up at the enumeration center, and we sent our observations to the respective MDAs. The MDAs should have also been in a position to say, yes, we know these people, and they tell us exactly where they are. But unfortunately, the 7,823 supposed employees, none of the MDAs was able to tell us where they are. So what we can say is that they are unaccounted for.
So just to break it down, I mean, just to understand this, what you found is that we paid out this 400 million plus to people who are not on the payroll. I mean, they have not worked, and yet we pay them.
Okay, this exercise, we picked data from 2015 to June 2018. And so anybody who was paid around that time, we were interested in that person. And so these 7,823 have been on the payroll from 2015 to 2018. And so the calculation of their salary from that time up to 2018 is what you see there.
I mean, so that's the point, right? I mean, so we paid that total amount over that period to these individuals. Meanwhile, they were not actually working and they were not on the payroll.
Yes, for as long as their employers were not able to tell us where they are, yes, we paid them for no work done.
And I'm just looking at the details in your report. Some jaw-dropping figures, and this is going to the specifics of the ministries, department, and agencies that you sort of discovered the names. Ministry of Education, we paid out a total of, well, it's even more jaw-dropping if you go into the specifics, but more than 233 million cedis to people we can't account for. If you look at, say, Ministry of Health, another 127 plus million cedis to people that we can't account for. And I wonder, Mr. Windfull, did you find out? So, I mean, it's not like 1 year. This is for several years, and we kept on paying the monies to these people. The heads of these institutions who make the payments, is it the controller and accountant general who does, and what sort of verification goes into identifying who is receiving the money?
It's a dual responsibility. The MDAs have a responsibility of validating employees who are supposed to be paid each month, and then controller and accountant general processes what has been validated. And so in these instances, the MDAs should have identified these employees and prompted controller to take them off the payroll. But unfortunately, that was not what happened.
So who was receiving all these amounts, the 467 million over that period? Who received them?
The individual. So, for instance, if you look at Ministry of Education, 5,074 employees were unaccounted for. So these individuals, the monies went into their accounts. And for Ministry of Health, 1,388, the monies went into the accounts of the individual.
Are these people? Of course, we have their details, so we can trace and find them if they are still alive. Correct?
Absolutely. One they have, yes.
I mean, so it begs the question: what next? Now that you have these details, I know constitutional procedure requires that you give it to the PAC, but I mean, before PAC looks into it, I mean, we know what happens. Is there any other approach you're adopting to finding these people who may have taken this money when they don't deserve it?
Yeah, Evans, before I even respond to that, this exercise was a special exercise which the Ministry of Finance, under the project, the PFM, together with the Auditor General, sponsored. The Auditor General was concerned about payroll issues, and the ministry as well was concerned. As you recall, there was a time the ministry tried to do a cleanup exercise on the payroll. So Auditor General saw it necessary for us to do a wide-scale payroll audits rather than the pockets of audits of payroll that we were doing in the past. And this is what the results have come out to show. And there is seriousness on the part of government to ensure that the payroll is strengthened, and the tracing of the affected employees is the responsibility of the MDAs and so on. And we have made recommendations to them to make the necessary follow-ups and ensure that recoveries are made into the back into government accounts. But in the nutshell, what I would say is that there is seriousness on all the stakeholders involved as far as this one is concerned, right from the inception of the exercise, where all of them, including Controller and Accountant General, getting themselves involved to make sure that we get our facts right and all unqualified people taken off the payroll.
So in essence, you expect that action will be taken based on your recommendations for money to be retrieved from the primary duty bearers, which is the MMDAs themselves.
Absolutely, and as a result of that, we have sent detailed lists of the affected employees to the respective MDAs, and we are expecting that they will take action on them.
What did you find in respect of people who may also have retired but possibly still on the payroll? Do you find anything like that?
Yes, we did. That we found to be a systemic issue. Our expectation is that the Controller and Accountant General system should have intelligent flex skills that when data is inputted, it validates and data which is not suitable is rejected by the system. So if you are an employee and you attain the age of 60, our expectation is that the system will automatically terminate you and will not process anything of yours on the active payroll. So we try to look at the system and we realize that the system was not intelligent to automatically identify persons when they attain the age of 60 and then to automatically terminate them from the payroll. And as a result of this weakness in control, we noticed that about 84 employees or retirees were still on the payroll.
So now, on the back of this, I must say, this is not the first time Auditor Generals have made such a discovery. I mean, we've become so used to the term ghost names. From what you found now, it appears to me that nothing much has changed, in spite of the many years of discovery such as what you have also just found. What is the problem?
I would say that the MDAs should also get on board strongly. They are doing very well, but they can even do better, because the unaccounted for employees were on their respective management unit payrolls. And so if they were very thorough, they would have identified them and prompted Controller for deletion. I want to also state that there were some of the management units in the respective MDAs who did very well. You will notice that apart from the unaccounted for employees, we also reported some employees who were discontinued, who have been declared discontinued by their respective heads of MDAs, and yet Controller ignored that warning and went ahead to pay. For those category of people, we applaud the MDAs for what they have done, but they can do more to ensure that each month, they validate properly and ensure that persons who deserve to be paid are those they validate for payment. Also, movement of staff is also a problem. Whenever there is movement of staff, they are not quick to input them appropriately so that they appear rightfully on wherever they have gone to. And so these are some of the problems that comes with it. So management of payroll by MDAs will do a lot of tricks.
I'm grateful. Deputy Auditor General George Windfull there. Let me bring in Adam Senanu. He is a co-chair of Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Ms. Senanu, I'm just sitting here, just looking at the jaw-dropping figure of 467 million cedis and wondering how much of a difference that will make to our economy currently, which is in crisis. What's your take on that?
Absolutely, Evans. And, you know, when we get reports like this, first of all, let's commend the Auditor General's Department for being consistent in doing the kind of work that highlights where there are serious leakages that affect our economy. And having said that, I mean, if a ministry can have over 5,000 teachers they can't account for, that's a major issue. That's a major issue. And the sums of money involved would definitely make a difference in terms of the kind of deliverables that citizens expect of the state. So this is not something to be taken lightly.
But it's even more worrying, is it not, Adam Senanu, that this is certainly, in my career, not the first time I'm hearing of ghost names. Previous Auditor Generals have found possibly even worse. In fact, I have seen foreign donors sponsor audits and validations so that we could save the money that we already say we don't have. For it to be recurring in the manner it is shocking. But what does it say to you?
It tells us that we have systemic failures where it matters most. The MDAs are answerable to government. The leadership typically is appointed by the president. This is one of those times where it would be good to see the president say, look, if you don't make sure that you recover these sums and ensure that the individuals, obviously some of them must have criminal intent to go ahead receiving sums of money they did not earn, and they ought to be prosecuted. So this is an opportunity once again to as it were, call to book those who've done the wrong thing. Make sure that the heads of MDAs, and I think we probably need to be looking at some kind of legislature or policy that looks at these heads of institutions when they fail, as it were, to crack the whip and to provide the supervision that they ought to in these specific areas of government.
Well, Mr. Senator, I'm grateful that you could join us with those thoughts. And just being joined on the telephone line by a former DC of Secha Farm Planks, Don Kofuseni. Mr. Fuseni, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you, Evans.
I heard the story that although you long left the public service as a DCE, somehow somebody is still collecting salary on your behalf.
No.
What's happening? Just explain to me what the situation is.
Yeah, actually, I was with Ghana Health Service before I went into politics. So I resigned from Ghana Health Service as a field technician at the Central District Directorate of Health Services. I was made to resign in June 2009. I resigned and refunded all the salaries that were paid to me from June to September when I was appointed as the NADMO coordinator. So I thought I had resigned. Since then, no salary comes into my account. I started taking the NADMO salary until 2013 when I became a DCE. But when I came home, it was 2019 that I only found out that my name was still in Ghana Health Service System. In fact, I have been promoted to a principal field technician without even my knowledge.
And were they paying you according to the promotion?
But the money was coming, but it never came to my account.
Wow. So whose account was it going into then?
Only God knows.
Well,
Only God knows.
Did you follow up at all?
So because who can you go and talk to? Because here you are, your name has been brought back to the district that your title is, you have been promoted from FC to senior FC to principal FC, which is the highest position in a first technician. Do you get it? So it means somebody somehow was actually able to even go through my promotional procedures when the years actually got to the stage where I needed to be promoted. So it means the salary I was taking as an FT was upgraded to a principal FT. And it kept coming until 2019 when I was elected. So I quickly called the ministry again and said, why is my name still in the system? They said they were going to work on it, but I also decided, well, since it's not coming to my account, I don't have any issues. Because if it were coming to my private account, that is where we will have the issue. So I'm just drawing your attention to the fact that if you want to trace these ghost people and say, oh, the money goes to their account, they should be prosecuted, you will be shocked to find out that the money never goes to their individual accounts. But if you go to the MMDAs, you see where the money ends up.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Hussein, I'm grateful for that input there. And so that is a real-life story of a public officer who left an agency long time ago, Ghana Health Service, and still being paid. In fact, has been promoted when he is not there. In other words, whoever is doing this promoted him so he gets more money according to the promotion, but doesn't go into his salary. What's your own take on this? I've just seen a number of you join me on my WhatsApp page. On our WhatsApp page, you're sharing similar stories of how you left an agency and somehow somebody is taking salaries that you have no knowledge of. I want to share a few with you as you've joined us with your thoughts. This one says, quite amazing, the findings of the Auditor General. Do the MMDAs have human resource persons? And if so, what work do they do there? They should be sacked if such rot recurs year on year. Well, I promise you, we've seen this before in Auditor General's reports in the past. Also, this one from Angloga Salvation Eric says, I think there is an office responsible for checking those who are on the payroll. So if the Auditor General is saying this, I think something is in the curtain that they need to tell the citizens, because in every government institution there is something called supervision. Okay. The Yao in Tema says the other side of the Auditor General's finding is that there are a lot of crooks and moral bankrupt people collecting money they are not entitled to. That is Yao. Sent us that one from Tema. And there are additional, comments you sent to us on the issue relating to Obuasi as an epicenter when it comes to the coronavirus in the Ashanti region. Justice from Obuasi says the issue of stigmatization against the people are just becoming too much. Just last Friday, a taxi driver sent a patient to Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital and got one of his tires, the bastard's tie. He got to Kumasi and went to buy a new tie, but upon the shop attendant spotting his number plate, asked him whether he's from Obuasi, and because of that, he refused to sell the tire to him. Wow. That's an interesting one. Just because you're from Obuasi, because people know it's become an epicenter, there is stigmatization already based on where you're coming from. Good evening, Evans. This one says, it is sad that market women who travel to other towns to trade got themselves arrested at the arrival because they are from Obuasi. That's another one. Very sad indeed. That's from Nana Mafo in Obuasi as well. This one says, when you broadcast a hint of a lockdown or curfew, that you inadvertently do is it cause panic in these hotspots and the persons there will run. Is concerned that he's expressing about the situation in Obuasi. And the final one says, with regards to the situation in Obuasi relative to the spread of the deadly coronavirus, I would say that for now, public education on abiding by safety protocols has gone down well with the inhabitants, and people are going about their routine activities as expected. I think, given the numbers that were churned out, which was heartbreaking, also blew the situation out of proportion, I candidly believe that the president must be briefed and more drastic measures put in place to curb the spread of the virus within Obuasi and its environs. And that from Anthony, who was listening to us and is still listening to us from Obuasi and sent us that one. I want to hear from you if you live in Obuasi. send me a WhatsApp 0244340437. Well, still ahead here on Newsnight, we will be in the Ashanti region, staying there because the Ashanti Regional Security Council is expressing worry about increase in prostitution in the city as naked man dies after allegedly being thrown out of the window of a brothel, and they found him lying in the middle of the street dead with a condom on.
2030, I want to say I demand it in Boma.
For a round of sex, I charge between 20 and 30 cedis. Some people pay as high as 50 cedis for similar services.
Our reporters have been on the ground. They will join us with the details. Hello, Charles.
Hi, Evans. Hi.
I'm doing great. How was your weekend?
It was great. Very relaxing.
Okay. What do you have in the headlines?
Anyway, so coming up in business, planned increase in price of petroleum products could largely depend on moves by market leader Goa. We have details on this. Also, incoming managing director of Tullow Oil Ghana with Sam Almontiri promises to build on the strong foundation of his predecessors. We'll also be hearing from the outgoing MD Kuku Awache, recounting some of his bright times at the firm. Business on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN. Welcome to a new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, and a one-stop shop for all office essential. And First National Bank. We are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank. How can we help you?
When you want it, just Momo it. When you tire for the long queue in the supermarket, just Momo it. And when you really want that beautiful new blouse too, just Momo it. And when you won't get that thing, when you will get fresh to impress, you know who, just Momo it. And when you need to pay that your utility bill and domestic staff set, just Momo it. And when you want to send love to the family for back home, just Momo it. So many ways there. When you go use your MTN Momo wallet or make payments with scan to pay. When you go use the QR code, or you go use the merchant ID or on bank POS terminal. You go also transfer money between mobile money wallet and bank account, all on MTN Momo. Enjoy real convenience in all your financial transactions and live life the brighter way with MTN Momo. We are good together. Just Momo it. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Mr. Barr has big dreams for his business, Barr & Co. Limited, and his family, making them a reality man to long drives and queues. He's lost precious time struggling to pay his suppliers in China, Turkey, India, and other parts of the world. With the First National Bank global payment via our online banking enterprise, he now pays for all that in the convenience of his home or office, giving him time to focus on family and growing his business. Use our online banking enterprise to access Forex when you need it. It takes a bank that does more to help your family. So who's helping yours? First National Bank. How can we help you?
We know it's important to create a productive and supportive working environment by investing in your employees' health. With a leading international track record, Apex Health Insurance is regulated and licensed by the National Health Insurance Authority to provide medical insurance services to institutional clients, families, and individuals. Apex Student Package and International Medical Solutions are all here to cushion you. Visit Apex Health Insurance Office at Zion House, Boundary Road, Shiashi, or call
0501-683-914
or 0232-000-015. In Kumasi, we are located opposite Prempeh College, Sofo Line, and in Takrady, Apex Health, your preferred health insurer.
DSTV Yonkupa and Nuntina yet time machino, and we thank you for choosing to stay at home and save with us. Yet time machi, Entina Yemamo discount when you top up your DSTV subscription. And you crow with kids educational channels like Mindset, Da Vinci, and the Ghana Learning Channel, as well as loads of kids entertainment and up to the minute news update on all the happenings across the world and home. Plus our captivating local and international drama, thrilling series and movies, all in one place. To get your discount, just top up your same or preferred subscription using MTN Momo, Vodacash, Slide Pay, Express Pay, eTransact, or your banking app, or SMS *389*5# and *759#, and we will upgrade you to the next package at no extra cost. Yes, this. That's easy. Onyanko Padie and Nuani DSTV. DSTV, yet time machine.
We give you nothing but the best. We stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Boost and Stationery. We do. Everybody's going to the one and only shop. Where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Boost and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Everyone needs a partner who will be there through the good times and tough times. We are that partner, and we appreciate your loyalty. At GoTV, we always have your back. That's why we're giving you a free upgrade on your next package. Simply stay connected and get upgraded to the next higher package at no cost. Annual upgrade at no cost. Stay home, stay safe, and stay remotely connected with MTN Mobile, Vodafone Cash, Slide Pay, Express Pay, eTransact, or your banking application, or *389*5# and *759#, and we will connect you with non-stop family mix entertainment on BET, Africa Magic Family, Rock 2 and 3, Telemundo, News, Trace Jama, and an array of kids learning and fun channels to wow you. Thank you for being our loyal partner. Stay entertained. GoTV's got your back.
Joy 99.7 FM, radio for the discerning listener.
And you're welcome to Business on Newsnight. Now, the expected increase in prices of petroleum products would largely depend on the direction of major players like oil. This is what Joy Business has picked up from some oil marketing companies over expected adjustments this week. George Rafi has more.
According to some of the oil marketing companies, any adjustment will be based on what the market leader GOL does. That is, if it decides to absorb the expected hikes, then some of them are likely to keep their prices unchanged at the pumps. Others have told Joy Business that they'll look at a more of a marginal increase at the pumps. Some of them have argued that they are looking at a moderate increase of about 5% for petrol and 7.5% for diesel. The oil marketing firms argue that they have to find a way to recover their costs, citing their obligations to the Ghana Revenue Authority in terms of taxes. Oil marketing companies are expected to review their prices in line with the adjustments every 2 weeks. Based on Joy Business's projection, petrol should go up by some 13%. Due to the price regulation policy, more than 100 oil marketing firms are supposed to adjust their prices, but not more than the approved limits set by the National Petroleum Authority.
And that was George Rafi's report. Now, the incoming managing director of Tullow Oil, Wissam Al-Monthiri, says he plans building on the strong foundation of his predecessor. The former employee of British Petroleum, BP, was today confirmed as MD of the company after outgoing MD Kuku Awatri announced his retirement by end of June. According to a statement from Tullow Ghana, Mr. Monthiri brings to Tullow Ghana an extensive experience in operations management and 17 years experience with British Petroleum, that's BP. In a related development, Kuku Awatri has been recounting some of his high moments as MD of Tullow Oil Ghana.
We spent a lot of time over the last 12 months, working with government to make sure there was legislation in place to allow companies like Tullow, it was the case for Accra, to be able to explore areas that, because we had started production, were no longer available to us. And so that was evidence in new legislation that was granted to Accra at the end of last year, but is also now available for Tullow, because we do have quite a number of areas within what we call our production area that we would like to exploit, we couldn't. But in addition to that, I like to believe we did, as I mentioned before, quite a lot of management training, empowering our workforce, trying to give opportunities to our young people, and I'm really quite proud of that.
Well, Mr. Awotri is moving on after he was appointed as boss of the company in March 2018, taking over from Charles Darko, who is the first Ghanaian to have led the company. Away from that, Managing Director of Standard Chartered Bank, Ghana, Mensah Nete, has hinted at the bank's commitment to support frontline workers and vulnerable persons in the community as the country battles COVID-19. The MD said this when the bank donated some items from its 1 million cedis emergency fund to the General Hospital, that is Tema General Hospital. Also, in a separate development, Access Bank has affirmed its commitment to bring banking to the population. They made this commitment when they presented several items worth 300,000 cedis to 50 municipalities across the country. Nana Educhera Manten is Head of Corporate Affairs and Brand Management of Access Bank.
So we believe that still in Ghana and in most places in Africa, the bankable population is too low. Figures are not moving as quick as we want to do. But there's no. So what we are trying to do is to so wherever we also demystify that, notion of going to the bank is for rich people, I don't have money, we want to be accessible to everyone. And I believe that
Nana Educhera Manten is Head of Corporate Affairs and Brand Management for Access Bank. Just before we leave, government is taking steps to fast-track the country's efforts to go cashless. To this end, the Ministry of Finance has introduced 3 policy initiatives designed to deepen financial inclusion and accelerate the shift to digital payment. Now, these include the National Financial Inclusion and Development Strategy, the Digital Financial Services Policy, as well as the Cashlight Roadmap. That's all for business on Newsnight.
Thank you, Charles. So, listening to Newsnight is on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, residents of parts of Accra and Tema say water shortage in their communities is making life uncomfortable for them. Now, supply in parts of Accra and Tema has been cut for weeks, forcing residents to rely on private water distributors and friends. My colleague Mamiesi Thompson was in some of the hard-hit areas and has filed this report.
The taps in hard-hit areas including Kokomlemle, Gulf City and Bechile have been dry for weeks. The water company issued a statement on the problem, but people in the community say the information did not reach them. They now carry 4 gallons in search of water. Here are some residents of Kokomlemle.
I think 5 days now. Water is not flowing.
And how are you surviving?
Sometimes when it's flowing like that, we get gallons, so we just fetch water inside. So we use that water is there. It can be there like 3 months, 4 months. When the water is not flowing, then we start using it.
Now, when the water went off 5 days ago, has there been any explanation from the water company?
No.
So Justice, how are you?
I'm fine.
How old are you?
I'm 12 years.
Okay, so what's happening this morning? Where are you going?
I was going to fetch water from last 3 days. Our tap was closed because we don't have water from the Ghana water. We don't have summer, so all of us we go and fetch water. You see my dress now, I'm wet.
In Bechile, Gulf City and surrounding areas, the situation has lasted even longer. At least, supply to Gulf City had ceased for months. Residents indicated they suspected technical problems, but distributors at Ghana Water Company Limited had been tight-lipped. Like their counterparts here in Accra, they also had to find water after their storage dried up.
We haven't got water from this place, and so I'm come to find water from somebody's house. I stay at Bechile, but I've been selling here. I'm come to fetch the water for my sister so that I also get some to pour it on my cassava. Okay, at Bechile we will be buying it.
The water has been closed about 2 weeks ago. 6 days ago, it's no water. So about water, about 4 or 5.
But the Ghana Water Company has been explaining to Joy News that a major technical problem had interrupted supply. However, the situation has been resolved. Here is Communications Manager Stanley Marty.
We had this challenge at our booster station. We needed repairs. So we sent out the information so that people could store water whilst we use some 24 hours to have the problem solved. Now, in the process, we realized that there were some leakages along the transmission line. So we took advantage of the shutdown to have those ones also repaired. And unfortunately, it went beyond the 24 hours into slightly above 48 hours. But thankfully, we've been able to finish all repairs and leakages, and then we are back to full production.
Well, Stanley Marty there talking about the interventions that the Ghana Water Company is making to fix that problem. A few of your messages coming through on the mainly on the story about the ghost names on the payroll. This one says, Yusuf says, quite unfortunate this is happening. We blame politicians every day, but what is our responsibility as citizens? I just hope we strengthen our institutions to save this country. Stone says, Evans, how do we fight this payroll graft when internal auditors who are supposed to do yearly HR audit attend promotion organized by the same HR outfit? Government should move all internal auditors to audit agency or controller to give them that independence. Lawrence in Nkonya says, some of us are working and are due for promotion but are not promoted. Here we are. People are being paid for no work done. God save us. And a similar one from Felicia from Borga says, please, can you help me? My brother has worked as a teacher for the past 6 years without salary. We have made the necessary follow-ups, but with no positive results. And I guess the flip side of that is many have not worked. A total of 7,800 plus have not worked, but they've been paid. Somebody is doing the calculations already on this. It says a total of 7,823 ghost names on the government payroll and are sharing 467 million. It means each one is taking home a cool amount of 59,000 Ghana cedi plus for no work done. Blame our politicians for these continuous rot in our MMDAs. Let's do sports now. Benedict is here with the details. Hello, Benedict.
Yes, Evans. Now, Black Stars B coach, that's Gordon Trump, the assistant coach, has been speaking about Black Stars coach CK Akono. He says he has a mentality and attitude to succeed as head coach of the national team. Now, CK replaced Kwesi Appiah, whose contract was not extended by the FA after it expired at the end of last year, and he has been tasked to win the Next Nations Cup and also qualify Ghana to the World Cup. Now, Atram, who is now the assistant coach, as I mentioned, of the Black Stars B, believes CK can do it.
I would like to congratulate my senior coach, Coach CK Akono, for this appointing aspect of a Black Star coach. I want to urge him that he got what it takes to do the job. He should stay focused, determine very well, and whatever that he feels that it will help him as a head coach, he must go all out and do it. He's the coach. He's the man. He can turn things upside down. He can do it. He should believe that he can do it. And I believe that he can do it because he has been there. He has been there. The mentality in Germany is very big in football. It's very big in football. So I want to urge my senior man that you should go all out in whatever that you are doing. With prayers, we are behind him and he will succeed.
All right, so that was Gordon Atram speaking on Coach CK Akono. Now, Premier League clubs have agreed to stage one of the training return protocols, allowing teams to, start training in small groups from Tuesday, that's tomorrow. Now, clubs voted unanimously on the decision at today's project restart meeting. Players must observe social distancing rules and contact training is not permitted. And I wonder how you're going to do that, Evans. How do you train without, making contact?
That is why tomorrow's show with Gary on football
PMS
beyond COVID-19 on PM is
with
special. It's going to be good. I mean, just football when it comes back is going to be very strange.
Yeah, did you watch the Bundesliga?
I saw some people talk about it. That
it was very strange. The players on the bench were practicing social distancing.
Goodness me.
They were wearing masks. But the other thing, you come on the pitch
and then you have to play, you have to tackle,
They score a goal, they don't want to hug.
That's another one. So you can't jubilate anymore. You can't.
They're using their elbow as now we greet, but you still make contact on the pitch. So what's the essence? If you're going to sit on the bench and practice social distancing and wear masks, you still come on the pitch. You play and you sweat.
That's a good one. Well, you have to make a date with the sports team. You have a PM Express special tomorrow, but tonight you have to make a date because we have Alex Mo, the former CEO of the GNPC, my guest tonight on the PMX. If you're going to talk about politics, economy, the running mate, everything Ghana, you want to make a date with us at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel. It's also on live on Facebook, YouTube, myjoyonline.com. Now, Journalist is learning that nearly 50,000 private school teachers from over 4,300 private schools in the country have not received salaries following the outbreak of COVID-19. Many others have been laid off as schools remain shut. The Ghana Association of Private Schools say its members have been hardly hit by the restrictions imposed following the outbreak of the disease. We have been speaking to a teacher who has been affected by these decisions.
It's quite terrible for us. Because when the whole thing started, it just came out of the blue. So they managed to pay us in March. But for April and May, there is no hope actually for us. So that's how it is.
Let's bring in the national president of the Private School Association, Damascus Tusron. He joins us on the telephone line right now. Damascus, so I wonder whether you've reached out at all to the government. We know there's some 600 million. I don't know whether you qualify for it. Have you started any discussions at all around that?
Thank you so much, Evans. And I send greetings to all private school owners and teachers, as well as children across the country. Indeed, we have reached out to government several times. As far back as late March, we started writing letters to His Excellency the President and followed up to the ministries. We're directed to NBSSI. That is where the stimulus package is supposed to be disbursed. So we have followed up to NBSSI, written letters to them and filled forms and all of that. Indeed, we have been pursuing government over a period to see what form of support they can offer to us and by extension to our teachers.
So, is there any hope there, in getting part of these funds at all?
Yes, there is some hope. Just last week, we were invited by the Minister of Trade and Industry and informed that private schools qualify to apply for part of that fund. So we have compiled our data of membership and we are making that available to NBSSI. We will be assisting our parents to apply as individual schools to apply to the fund, and we hope that we will get the maximum benefits out of it.
I'm grateful. That's the president of the Private Schools Association of Ghana. Now, the Ashanti Regional Security Council says it's noted an increase in prostitution in the regional capital of Kumasi. A week ago, a man was found dead behind a brothel after allegedly being thrown off the window of that particular brothel. Eyewitnesses say he was naked and wore a condom when he was found, when his body was discovered. Now, reports say he may have been punished for allegedly failing to pay the sex worker after being serviced. Now, Nalaya Ojima has been to one of the city's biggest slums, Asafo Bibi, where prostitution and crime are rife. Here's his report.
Enidasu Hotel at Asafo is now a crime scene as the Asokwa District Police investigate death of a man believed to be a patron of commercial sex. This building, sitting in the middle of Asafo Transport Terminal, is perhaps the preserve of high-class prostitutes. About 200 meters from the terminal is Asafo Bibi, the biggest prostitution and crime hub. Wooden shacks of the sizes of average living rooms are further divided into 8 cubicles, each about 3 by 4 meters squared. In one of the cubicles is this lady I choose to call Abna. She will not tell me her real age, but looks under 18 in my estimation.
I gave birth 3 months ago, so I have no reason to continue the job now. A woman who lives around owns this shack. She comes daily to take 10 cedis as rent.
Another shack from the outside looks like a pub, but inside it has 2 major parts, a pub and shelter for prostitutes. From my conversation with them, it seems 5 out of 8 occupants of each shack hail from the Bono and Ahafo regions. They have traveled to Kumasi in search of greener pastures.
For a round of sex, I charge between 20 and 30 cedis. Some people pay as high as 50 cedis for similar services.
These shacks, spanning the rail lines at Asafo, are owned by people who have made a lot of money from hiring them out to tenants over years. One of them admits to making thousands of cedis from the shack he acquired at 700 Ghana cedis 4 years ago.
They pay 50 cedis a week, covering utilities. Tenants are mainly prostitutes. I have 4 cubicles. I have rented 3 out to prostitutes. It is good business.
Aside prostitutes, thieves, armed robbers, drug peddlers, and other criminals live here. A few weeks ago, a young man lost a limb after refusing to let them have his mobile phone. Some of the thieves here review their mode of operations.
Sometimes we pass sticks with adhesive materials through windows to steal phones without physically entering a room. I've stolen a lot of phones with a method.
Sanitation is a major challenge here, as the main Kumasi drain running through center of the slum continues to be choked with piles of refuse. For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
And my name is Evans Mensah. It's been good having you around. Enjoy the rest of your evening.